Good evening and welcome to the Raw Feed. I'm Gary Franchi reporting live to millions worldwide from our studio just outside Chicago. And tonight we've got Tom McCullagh standing by the White House with explosive developments you won't hear anywhere else. Now tonight marks Trump's historic day 114 since reclaiming the White House, and the deep state is absolutely melting down. Why? Because everything they said couldn't happen is happening right before our eyes. But before we dive in, I need you to do something crucial. Grab your phone and text this live stream link to at least 3 people that you trust. Why? Because Big Tech is actively suppressing this broadcast. They don't want this information getting out. But when you share directly, you bypass their algorithms completely. And speaking of reaching more patriots, we're not just on YouTube. Follow us on Rumble and X, where we are streaming simultaneously. We're building a fortress of truth they can't shut down. Now, let me tell you what sets the Raw Feed apart. We bring you into the conversation. Throughout the show, we will be featuring your super chats and your Rumble rants right here on the screen. Your voice, your reactions, broadcast to the world in real time. This is participatory journalism at its finest. Now, tonight's lineup is explosive. Tom McCullagh is live in D.C. with breaking details on Trump's game-changing Saudi Arabia visit. A $600 billion deal the mainstream media is desperately trying to spin. Then a bombshell exposure of the radical transformation happening at the Health and Human Services under Kennedy's leadership. We've got exclusive footage that will leave you stunned. We're also bringing you the truth about what's really happening in South Africa. The story is so shocking, the corporate media won't touch it, but they will just to spin it. Plus, wait until you see how Democrat leadership is trying to undermine presidential authority. The footage that Tom has obtained from sources in Washington will make your blood boil. But here is the thing. This kind of real journalism isn't free. The powers that be would love nothing more than to shut us down. That is why we need your support. All the donation links are in the description below. Every dollar helps us keep exposing the truth that they want hidden. And for those who want to go even further, join our channel membership program. You'll get exclusive access to our team behind-the-scenes content and our members-only 24/7 Discord chat, plus special acknowledgement in the chat room. Just click that join button below. And speaking of showing your support, you need to check out our merch shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. We've got some exclusive merch and designs to let everyone know where you stand. Real patriots wear their values proudly. Remember, throughout tonight's broadcast, we will be reading your super chats and Rumble rants between segments. Your reactions, your insights featured right here on the screen. It's not just a broadcast, it is a movement. So buckle up, patriots. Text or stream to your friends. Hit those follow buttons on Rumble and X and get ready for 2 hours of unfiltered truth. The deep state doesn't want you to see what we're about to show you, but that's exactly why you need to see it. Let's welcome you to the show. We got Jeremy Olson seeking truth. Who else is in the house? We got Karen Myron, Duty to Rebel, Scontek, Night Call, Arnold Schmidt. We've got Curio23 and Cindy is here. Our Boyd in the house. Refresh it, baby. Greetings and salutations from the good United Statesians. We got PJCCG Ari in the house. Anonymous in the house. We've got Susudio here. Karen Guzman. We've got, I got YouTube on backup. Guess it crashed on me. Oh, sorry to hear that. Who else is in the house? Peter Lipman, Goat Biscuit, Anonymous, Scott Edwards, Scontek. Trump was greeted like a true world leader today. Crypto King Freddy. Gen X, what's up? How you guys doing? Tiger Lily. Karen, I'm feeling great. R. Boyd, Keith Dreger, and Susudio dropping the first super chat of the evening at $5. Nick Rev, ASMR Plus in the house. Elaine Miller in the house as well. Let's see what is going on in the super chat world before we get to our first topic of the evening. Ruby Hoove is here. gifted 1 membership to Henry G. And Susudio dropping $5. All right, thank you for breaking the seal, as they say, right? All right, $5 in the Alex Jones was right jar, right here on my desk. Yep, getting filled up every day by good patriots like Susudio. And who will be the next? I don't know. But make sure you do share this. We are experiencing some ridiculous levels of censorship on YouTube currently. And but we are broadcasting on all platforms. So make sure you share those feeds, repost, and everything that we can do to bring the message of truth to as many people as possible. Brian, let's get moving on our first topic. All right. Earlier today, Tom McCullagh was at the White House bringing us developments on an extraordinary story. Something happened. In the skies over Saudi Arabia, the mainstream media is desperately trying to spin. Well, the implications, nothing short of earth-shattering. In moments, we're going to show you Tom's exclusive report from Washington that is officials scrambling to contain the fallout. What unfolded will leave you speechless. And the mainstream media won't touch this story. Of course, they'll spin it. But we're going to show you exactly why. Here is what they don't want you to see. Now, I do need to be brutally honest with you. The global elites are orchestrating the biggest wealth transfer in history. Your savings account, it's being robbed through inflation and retirement. It's at risk, but there is a way to protect yourself that power brokers don't want you to know about. I'm talking about physical gold and silver. That's why I trust Noble Gold. They're not just another precious metals company. They're patriots who understand what's really happening. Right now, when you open a qualified account, Noble Gold will send you a free 10-ounce silver American flag bar. So head over to nextnewsgold.com, find a link below, or call that number on the screen, 877-646-5347. Don't wait until it's too late. Secure your wealth today with Noble Gold Investments. And when you call them and you talk to Colin, tell them that Gary Franchi sent you. All right, tell him I said hi. Okay, let's jump into the news right now. Donald Trump in Saudi Arabia. And he's on a whirlwind Middle East tour. Global shockwaves are real. He gave an amazing speech. I've got a clip from that. We've also got Tom's report from the White House. I want to get to that. But let's check out what Trump said about the failed interventionists.
Not before our eyes, a new generation of leaders is transcending the ancient conflicts of tired divisions of the past and forging a future where the Middle East is defined by commerce, not chaos, where it exports technology, not terrorism, and where people of different nations, religions, and creeds are building cities together, not bombing each other out of existence. We don't want that. And it's crucial for the wider world to note this great transformation has not come from Western interventionists or flying people in beautiful planes giving you lectures on how to live and how to govern your own affairs. No, the gleaming marvels of Riyadh and Abu Dhabi were not created by the so-called nation builders, neocons, or liberal nonprofits like those who spent trillions and trillions of dollars failing to develop Kabul, Baghdad, so many other cities. Instead, the birth of a modern Middle East has been brought by the people of the region themselves, the people that are right here, the people that have lived here all their lives, developing your own sovereign countries, pursuing your own unique visions and charting your own destinies in your own way. It's really incredible what you've done. In the end, the so-called nation builders wrecked far more nations than they built, and the interventionists were intervening in complex societies that they did not even understand themselves. They told you how to do it, but they had no idea how to do it themselves.
That's just one portion of Trump's speech. Now let's go to Tom McCullagh at the White House. While the media sleeps, Trump dominates in Saudi Arabia. $600 billion deal, 2 million American jobs, and they're treating them like royalty. At least don't want you to see what real leadership looks like. America first is back, and the world knows it. Let's go to Tom.
Billions of dollars. Hey guys, this is Tom McCullagh reporting from the White House with the Next News Network. And guys, buckle up. President Donald J. Trump just kicked off his first foreign trip to Saudi Arabia, and it's a total home run. So this isn't just a visit, it's a historic win for America, bringing in billions of dollars and millions of new jobs. Trump's showing the world what America First looks like, and the Saudis are treating him like royalty. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. So right out of the gate, Trump landed in Riyadh with a delegation that's a who's who of business leaders. Like, think Elon Musk, the Tesla and SpaceX genius, Steven Schwartzman, the Blackstone kingpin, Larry Fink from BlackRock, and Amazon Andy Jassy. His cabinet's no slouch either. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, and Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick. These are the heavy hitters that Trump brought with him to seal the deal overseas. So when Air Force One soared over the desert, Saudi fighter jets escorted it, showing a massive respect for our president. And it's a bold statement of the strong U.S.-Saudi bond under Trump's leadership. Let's go ahead and check out.
Now, what you're seeing there, that is the F-16, or maybe those are F-18 Hornets, the escort that President Trump received as Air Force One was on approach. Pretty remarkable scene captured by one of the pool reporters on Air Force One.
At the royal court, Trump was welcomed with the Star-Spangled Banner ringing out. He stood tall, saluting as the Saudis honored the America's leader. It's the kind of moment that makes you proud to be in America when you see that respect coming from across the world. Go ahead and check this out. So now let's talk money. Trump's already locking in a $600 billion investment from Saudi Arabia into America, and that's right, $600 billion. It's the biggest set of commercial deals ever between our two countries. Companies like Google and Oracle are pouring in $80 billion in tech. Saudi's data vault is dropping $20 billion on AI data centers right here in the U.S., and that means jobs, millions of them for American workers. The Saudis spared no expense for Trump's visit. They gave him the highest military honors with all the pomp and ceremony you can imagine. His limo was even escorted by royal guards on horseback, which is a classy touch, and it shows exactly how much they respect him. Check this out. It's pretty cool, actually. Check it out.
I think it'd be cooler if they were riding camels, though. I'd say that much.
Before the big state meeting, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman sat down with Elon Musk, who's part of Trump's crew. This meeting paved the way for the business deals that followed, proving Trump brings the best to the table. Let's go ahead and see that.
There you can see Elon Musk, Donald Trump, greeting him there. A remarkable moment. I saw a post that said that Elon Musk is richer than those guys. Pretty wild. I wonder what they're talking about. He's like, oh, yeah. You ever seen this guy's rockets? They're huge. Yeah, he lands them, he flies them up, and then chopsticks, they catch them. Yeah, he's also cutting all the government waste. This guy over here, yeah. Oh, all right, thank you. I'll help you out later.
At the Saudi U.S. Investment Forum, Trump spoke with fire, saying the world's top business leaders were there, and this visit could bring 2 million jobs to America. 2 million. That's what a real leader does. He fights for you and myself. Check this out.
As you know, we have the biggest business leaders in the world here. They're going to walk away with a lot of checks for a lot of things that you're going to provide. And in the United States, it's probably 2 million jobs that we're talking about this visit. So, number one, I like visiting with you, and we've known each other very well, and I really believe we like each other a lot. And number two, for the United States, we've brought tremendous investment in and tremendous jobs, and we'll continue to service your great country very well.
And let's keep the wins coming. Trump and the Crown Prince signed deals on energy, defense, and more, strengthening both nations. The biggest, a $142 billion defense sales agreement, the largest in history. It gives Saudi Arabia top American gear while boosting our defense industry. Saudi's already our biggest foreign military sales partner with $129 billion in active cases, and Trump's taking it to the next level. These agreements are a big deal. Let's go ahead and check this out.
History in the making right there. Agreements being signed.
So let's zoom out. That $600 billion package includes healthcare wins like a $5.8 billion investment from Shemik Solutions for a new IV fluid plant in Michigan. Boeing's exporting $4.8 billion in planes, and GE's Vernova sending $14.2 billion in energy solutions. This is about American jobs, American strength, and American pride. So why is this happening? Because the Saudis trust Trump. They know he's a deal maker who puts America first. Just last week, he nailed a trade deal with the UK, and now he's bringing home this massive win. Trump's the deal maker in chief, folks, and he's making America great again, one historic deal at a time. So that's it for this morning's roundup. And again, this is Tom McCullagh reporting from the White House with the Next News Network. God bless. Hey, guys.
Tom reporting in the rain at the White House for the Next News Network, I should point out. History being made. Let's check in with this post here.
In the U.S. and China. You want to know what Donald Trump did this weekend? Just this past weekend, Donald Trump mediated a peace deal between India and Pakistan, stopping a potential war. He brokered an in-person meeting between Russia and Ukraine. He announced a new trade deal between the U.S. and China. He ended Big Pharma U.S. profiteering by slicing prescription drug prices by up to 80%. And he made progress on the release of the final American hostage from the terrorist organization that is Hamas in Gaza. All in the past 48 hours. I'm convinced he just doesn't sleep. Here's what you can expect to see next. Actually, a couple things. Number one, tomorrow, Monday, May 12th, you can expect the stock markets to skyrocket. So I hope you bought in at the dip, or at least didn't sell your stocks. And secondly, you will 100% see negative headlines about Trump from mainstream media. Like, I can just picture it now. Trump brokers peace deal between two countries without their prior consent. Honestly, I think I'm most interested in seeing how left-leaning outlets respond to Donald Trump's slashing of prescription drug prices. But trust me, they will, because Donald Trump did it and not a Democrat. Donald Trump is lowering cost, he's anti-war, and he's America first. I'm getting exactly what I voted for.
That was Riley Gaines. You guys all know her. Here's another shot of those F-15s as they were. Amazing. How cool is that, though? Here's the president actually getting off Air Force One. They rolled out the purple carpet. History made by President Trump. So the implications of what we just saw in Tom's report are staggering. It's not about diplomacy or business. It's about fundamentally transforming America's global position. Now, the mainstream media won't tell you about the thousands of new American jobs that this deal creates or how it strengthens our strategic position in the Middle East. They won't explain how this historic agreement affects energy prices, technology development, and national security. But the real question remains, why is the corporate media trying so hard to downplay this breakthrough? What don't they want the American people to understand about this massive shift in global power? Share your theories in the comments below. We want to hear what you think about these developments, and don't forget to check out the Next News shop for the latest in Patriot gear. It's linked below. Wow, history made yet again. Wow, I don't know how much winning. Can you guys handle the winning? I can't. So much winning. Okay, we got Paul Kendall dropping $4.99. Keep up the good work, says Paul. Thank you for your support. Another super chat in the Alex Jones was right jar. $9.99 and one new member. But we've got more news to get to. So let's move right along. We're going to break down Donald Trump's speech and more. Ladies and gentlemen, what happened inside that conference room in Riyadh will send shockwaves through the global financial system. A moment so powerful, so unprecedented, the international business leaders were literally standing in applause. Now, the mainstream media doesn't want this getting out because what President Trump just accomplished destroys decades of their carefully crafted narratives. Tom McCullagh reported on these developments from the White House earlier today, and when you see what unfolded in that room, you'll understand why the global elite are in absolute panic mode, so hold on to your seats. And speaking of transformative moments, just like President Trump is reshaping global investment, there's a revolutionary breakthrough transforming thousands of lives right here at home. I'm talking about a collagen formula so powerful, it's making people look decades younger. This isn't just another supplement. It is the same formula being used by those elite investment bankers we just told you about. They're paying thousands for it, but you can get it for a fraction of the cost. Visit healthwithgary.com and get 51% off during our special broadcast offer. Remember, this deal will not last long. Now let's jump into the historic speech in Saudi Arabia, shattering the globalist narrative, standing tall with the Crown Prince Mohammed bin MBS, I'll call him MBS. He promised no Iranian nukes while unveiling his Mideast master plan. 80 years of friendship renewed as a $142 million defense deal has been secured. The deep state hates America First diplomacy. Let's check in with Tom at the White House.
Blaring as he... Hey guys, this is Tom McCullagh reporting from the White House with the Next News Network. And guys, today we're diving into President Trump's historic visit to Saudi Arabia, where he's showing the world what real leadership looks like. He's at the Saudi U.S. Investment Forum in Riyadh, sealing massive deals and standing tall for America. So we're going to go ahead and dive right into it. First, let's talk about the moment where Trump arrived at the forum. He walked in side by side with the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, marking a huge $600 billion investment from Saudi Arabia into the United States. And this is a big win for American jobs and our economy. Let's go ahead and check out this clip.
Please welcome His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, Crown Prince and Prime Minister, and the 45th and 47th President of the United States of America, Mr. Donald Trump.
Trump took the stage, he did it true Trump American style. The crowd heard "God Bless the USA" blaring as he stepped up to speak. And that's the kind of patriotism we need, and Trump delivers every single time. Let's go ahead and check this out. It's iconic.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And
I want to point out something that's interesting, that, we're listening to God Bless the USA, and everybody there is being forced to listen to that song. We heard that song a million times on the campaign trail, and now Donald Trump is bringing it to Saudi Arabia. Another remarkable win for Donald Trump on the world stage and for America. God bless the USA. In a room full of Saudi princes and billionaires and corporate CEOs and whatever they have over there. A remarkable moment nonetheless. But Donald Trump playing that song, Lee Greenwood's God Bless the USA.
still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land.
Is making the bond even stronger. And during his speech, Trump celebrated. During his speech, Trump celebrated the long-standing friendship between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia. He talked about over 80 years of partnership and how this visit is making the bond even stronger. And this is what a leader does. He builds bridges. Check this out.
With this historic state visit, we celebrate more than 80 years of close partnership between the United States and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Ever since President Franklin Roosevelt met with King Solomon's father, King Abdul Aziz, aboard the USS Quincy in 1945, the U.S.-Saudi relationship has been a bedrock of security and prosperity. Today we reaffirm this important bond, and we take the next steps to make our relationship closer, stronger, and more powerful than ever before.
Trump also looked back at his first term, reminding everyone of his vision for the Middle East. 8 years ago, he stood in that same room pushing for a future where the region would kick out terrorism, rise as a modern, successful power, and guess what? He's making it happen. Let's go ahead and check this out.
Exactly 8 years ago this month, I stood in this very room and look forward to a future in which the nations of this region would drive the forces of terrorism and extremism, drive them right out of existence, and take your place among the proudest, most prosperous, most successful nations anywhere in the world as leaders of a modern and rising Middle East. So exciting, so exciting.
So let's talk about the deals, because this is where Trump shines. Saudi Arabia is buying $142 million in American-made military gear, and that's just the start. There's also a multi-billion-dollar deals with companies like Amazon, Oracle, and Uber. Trump's bringing jobs and money to America. Check this out.
In addition to purchases of $142 billion of American-made military equipment by our great Saudi partners, the largest ever, this week there are multi-billion-dollar commercial deals with Amazon, Oracle, AMD. They're all here. Uber, Qualcomm, Johnson & Johnson, and many, many more. So I want to congratulate everybody. So many great business executives, many of you, most of you I know, And they're coming in, you know, about a month ago. They weren't that happy when they saw me. And now they're saying, sir, you're doing a great job. Thank you very much. It's amazing what a rising market will do. Oh, it's going to get a lot higher. In fact, I told people 5 weeks ago, this is a great time to buy. I got criticized for that. Now they don't criticize me anymore. People should have listened. But it's going to go a lot higher. You see, we've never had anything like this happen. It's an explosion of investment and jobs, and great companies are coming in. Never seen anything like it. There's no better place to make a future or make a fortune, or do anything, frankly, than what we have in the United States of America under a certain President Donald J. Trump.
Now, Trump did not hold back on Iran. He made it clear that America will never let Iran threaten our allies with terrorism or nuclear attacks. He's giving them a chance for a better future, but the clock is ticking. Watch Trump show our strength.
But with that said, Iran can have a much brighter future, but will never allow America and its allies to be threatened with terrorism or nuclear attack. The choice is theirs to make. We really want them to be a successful country. We want them to be a wonderful, safe, great country. But they cannot have a nuclear weapon. This is an offer that will not last forever. The time is right now for them to choose. Right now, we don't have a lot of time to wait. Yet I'm here today not merely to condemn the past chaos of Iran's leaders, but to offer them a new path and a much better path toward a far better and more hopeful future. As I've shown repeatedly, I am willing to end past conflicts and forge new partnerships for a better and more stable world, even if our differences may be very profound, which obviously they are in the case of Iran. I have never believed in having permanent enemies. I am different than a lot of people think. I don't like permanent enemies, but sometimes you need enemies to do the job, and you have to do it right. Enemies get you motivated. In fact, some of the closest friends of the United States of America are nations we fought wars against in generations past, and now they're our friends and our allies.
Trump also laid out his no-nonsense approach to foreign policy. He said it's not America's job to judge other leaders, that's God's work. His job, defend America and push for stability and peace. And that's the kind of clarity we've been missing for years. Watch this.
In recent years, far too many American presidents have been afflicted with the notion that it's our job to look into the souls of foreign leaders and use U.S. policy to dispense justice for their sins. They loved using our very powerful military, and now it's really the most powerful it's ever been. We just are getting a budget approved, $1 trillion, highest budget we've ever had in history for military, $1 trillion. And we're getting the greatest missiles, the greatest weapons. And, you know, I hate to do it, but you have to do it because we believe in peace through strength. You have to have the strength, otherwise bad things could happen. But hopefully we'll never have to use any of those weapons. Seems to be an awfully big waste of money if you're never going to use them, but hopefully we'll never have to use them because the destructive power of some of those weapons are like nobody's seen before. I believe it is God's job to sit in judgment, my job to defend America, and to promote the fundamental interest of stability, prosperity, and peace. That's what I really want to do.
Let's not forget about the action in Yemen. Trump talked about how the U.S. military launched over 1,100 strikes on the Houthis right after they attacked American ships in the Red Sea. The result, the Houthis backed down. Trump hit hard, got results, and got out. And that's how you do it. Watch this.
In recent weeks, following repeated attacks on American ships and freedom of navigation in the Red Sea, the United States military launched more than 1,100 strikes on the Houthis in Yemen. As a result, the Houthis agreed to stop. They said, we don't want this anymore. It's the first time you've heard that from them, too. They're tough. They're fighters. But just days ago, we were asked to cease targeting commercial. They were not going to be targeting commercial ships in any way, shape, or form, or anything American. And they were very happy that we stopped. But we had 52 days of thunder and lightning like they've never seen before. This was a swift, ferocious, decisive, and extremely successful use of military force. Not that we wanted to do it, but they were shooting down ships. They were shooting at you. They were shooting at Saudi Arabia. We don't want them shooting at Saudi Arabia, if that's okay. So we hit them hard. We got what we came for, and then we got out.
And finally, a bold move on Syria. After talks with the Crown Prince and Turkey's President Erdogan, Trump announced he's lifting sanctions on Syria to give them a shot at a better future. And this is Trump thinking big, taking risk for peace. Let's go ahead and watch this.
Likewise, in Syria, which has seen so much misery and death, there is a new government that will hopefully succeed in stabilizing the country and keeping peace. That's what we want to see in Syria. They've had their share of travesty, war, killing, many years. That's why my administration has already taken the first steps toward restoring normal relations between the United States and Syria for the first time in more than a decade. And I'm very pleased to announce that Secretary Marco Rubio will be meeting with the new Syrian foreign minister in Turkey later this week. And very importantly, after discussing the situation in Syria with the Crown Prince, your Crown Prince, and also with President Erdogan of Turkey, who called me the other day and asked for a very similar thing, among others, and friends of mine, people that I have a lot of respect for in the Middle East. I will be ordering the cessation of sanctions against Syria in order to give them a chance at greatness.
And guys, Trump's speech wasn't just talk, it was action. He secured $600 billion in investments, pushed for peace, and stood firm against threats. And that's the leadership America needs, and Trump's delivering. Again, this is Tom reporting with the Next News Network. God bless. Hey, guys.
Thank you for that report inside the dry press room in a rainy Washington, D.C. But I want to do some compare and contrast real quick. Do you guys see this? First of all, yes, they actually brought in a McDonald's trailer. Now, of course, that was Donald Trump in the window there was added by somebody, but the trailer is real, as 100% fact. But take a look. Here is when Biden went to Saudi Arabia. All he got was a fist bump, and the Crown Prince didn't even bother to show up to meet him at Air Force One. On the other hand, President Trump gets a king's welcome. Look at this. Here's more. So this is when Biden went to Saudi Arabia. Yeah, look at that. Pretty sparse show up. But here's the difference. Look at that. No, that's not AI. That's not Photoshop. That's real. Okay? Biden, Trump. Okay? You see the respect there? Yeah. And then we got this also. Some remarks on Biden's trip. He ridiculed and insulted the Crown Prince. Here's some reaction.
To Joe Biden. I want to start with a very stark contrast between President Trump's reception in Saudi Arabia compared to Joe Biden. Joe Biden is someone who the Democrats like to say had decades of foreign policy experience, a statesman, and President Trump was a rabble-rouser, came from the outside, a businessman who doesn't know anything about foreign policy, and yet the Saudi Crown Prince seemed to have an even warmer reception for President Trump than Biden. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And I mean, it's inexcusable for someone like President Biden to miss being a good diplomat. He was extremely horrible. And Trump had a lot of affinity with the Crown Prince, even in his first term. And he's just continuing to double down on that. The Saudis are and I think the regions, so his other stops in Qatar, as well as the UAE, I think you'll see similar reaction. But on Biden's first trip, he ridiculed and insulted the Crown Prince to the king in front of him. And I think that loss of face meant that the Biden administration, no matter how hard they would have tried or as much as Saudi Arabia would have benefited, There was only going to be so far that we could have actually taken things forward. That all is behind us now, thankfully.
Thank God. Yeah, for sure. Here is more reaction to President Trump's visit to Saudi Arabia on Fox Business.
Well, I was in Saudi just a couple of weeks ago. Saudi Arabia is one of the most important players in the Middle East, and Saudi Arabia seeks to move from being just a regional power to being a global power through the reforms from Crown Prince and Prime Minister MBS. But there's an amazing moment here in history as we think about this is really the first state visit that President Trump has taken since he took office. Remember, it was the first state visit he took when he was president during his last administration. So it sends a strong message, the important role that Saudi Arabia plays, not only in the region, but in the world. There is another chapter written building on the Abraham Accords, one of the great breakthroughs of peace in the Middle East, led by President Trump. There is a moment at some point when Saudi Arabia could renormalize their relationship with Israel, a Jewish state of Israel. That will come sometime in the future. But at the moment, there's tremendous deals to be had. They're talking about at least $600 billion of investment. That may even grow larger. We'll see what President Trump comes out with. But he is leading. It is peace through strength. The Middle East respects a strong leader. They exploit weakness like they did with Joe Biden. They respect President Trump. I heard that message 2 weeks ago when I was in Saudi Arabia. I think you're going to see a very successful visit by President Trump and his team as they go through the Middle East. Well, I was in...
And you're seeing history unfold. So what happened at that investment forum? It goes far beyond typical international business dealings. We're witnessing a complete realignment of global economic power. So consider the implications. American technology companies gaining unprecedented access to Middle Eastern markets. Massive infrastructure projects created right here at home. New jobs. And a new era of energy cooperation that could revolutionize both economies. But here's what every American should be asking. Why are financial elites and their media allies working overtime to minimize these achievements? What are they afraid that these deals might reveal about their own failed economic policies? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear your perspective on this historic shift. Make sure you visit Next News Network's shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com to show your support for real news. Okay, Irving dropping a 50 spot. Damn. Wow. Wow, Irving, love it, man. Thank you so much. Love that Chrysler 300. I think that's what you got in your profile picture. Those are really cool cars. I am a car guy, so I appreciate that. So never surrender, right, folks? Never surrender. Isn't it great? Isn't it just great to have a real president again? I mean, those pictures that I showed you, the compare and contrast with Biden and Trump, man. What an embarrassment that guy was. I mean, they rolled out the purple carpet. Not the red carpet, the purple carpet. Frickin' royalty. That's how they're treating him. Amazing. All right. Who's in the house tonight? We got GSSS, Karen Finley, Tom B420, Scott Edwards, Jeremy, Pothead Kenny, Kibbs Ellis, Bruce Atkins. Yes, a real president indeed. Scontact talking about 6th generation Camaros are magic. And Michael, what's up from Pennsylvania, and Sabrina in Houston? What's up? What's up? What's up? Good to see you guys here tonight. Thank you for joining the Raw feed. We're just getting started. We need to talk about South Africa, though, because what's happening there is pretty sick. So I want to just double check here with Todd, our producer, to make sure I'm on the same page. Okay, that's what I was checking to make sure. Okay, let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, the globalist media machine is activating against us as we speak. I'm Gary Franchi. This is the Next News Network, one of the last bastions of truth in this information war. Now, President Trump just signed an executive order to save Christian farmers from South Africa who are being slaughtered in their homes. And the mainstream dinosaur media is already spinning their disgusting lies. They're screaming racism when these are legitimate refugees fleeing brutal persecution. It's sick, it's twisted. It's like they want these people to die because it doesn't fit their narrative. The same media that cries crocodile tears over their preferred refugee groups is actually mocking the suffering of these farmers because they don't fit the globalist agenda. Now, just as humanitarian crises can bring unexpected pain to millions, chronic pain can create a personal crisis in your life. But here's what the medical establishment doesn't want you to know. There is a revolutionary turmeric discovery that's changing everything. Dr. Josh's breakthrough formula is 200 times more powerful than regular turmeric, and it's helping people reclaim their lives from debilitating pain. The same elites trying to hide the truth about global crises don't want you knowing about this solution. So visit goldenrevive.com/NNN to discover the truth about pain relief that they have been hiding. Now, let's get straight into where Thomas McCullagh, he's at the White House with the breaking details on how these South African refugees are being welcomed to American soil. Tom, take it away.
Hey guys, this is Tom McCullagh reporting from the White House with the Next News Network. And guys, we got a story that's lighting up X and showing President Trump's America First heart. So South African farmers fleeing violence are landing on U.S. soil as refugees. These are hardworking people caught in a dangerous mess back home. And Trump, he's rolling out the red carpet to save them. Let's go ahead and get into it. So on Monday, 59 South African farmers touched down at Dulles Airport on a U.S. chartered plane. Trump's team fast-tracked the refugee status, saying they're escaping brutal attacks. But South Africa's leaders are denying any persecution. They claim a new law, which lets their government take land without paying to fix past imbalances, isn't targeting anyone. Still, some Americans are cheering for these refugees, saying they deserve a new start. Here's what's being said. Let's go ahead and check this out.
The White House says white South Africans are under a, quote, government-sponsored race-based discrimination over a law it claims allows racially motivated seizures of land. But South African leaders strongly deny the allegations. The South African government says Afrikaners, who are descendants of Dutch settlers, benefit the most economically. While they make up only 7% of the population, they also occupy most of the farmland. The new law in question gives the South African government permission to take land without compensation in certain cases to address disparities to black South Africans as a result of the apartheid era. Again, we are supposed to hear from...
These farmers, mostly Afrikaners, have been growing food for generations, but now they're facing deadly threats, farm attacks that leave their families terrified. One post laid it bare. These are skilled workers, people who know how to farm, yet they're dealing with slaughter, often with their own government turning a blind eye. Trump standing with them, and let's go ahead and check that take out.
Folks, the media is absolutely melting down over President Trump's refugee program for South Africans fleeing what many have called white genocide. This idea that the Expropriation Act of 2024 in South Africa and the ongoing mass killings of white South African farmers, many of whom who have lived on the land for 400 years. Keep in mind, 400 years. This part of South Africa did not exist as a cultured land, as arable land, prior to their arrival 400 years ago. And yet, when President Trump has offered, by the way, this status has only come in for a couple of dozen people, the media is losing their minds. And so the first group of them came to Washington, D.C. yesterday, and incredible scenes where, when's the last time, by the way, you saw refugees coming from somewhere who were flying the American flag, who were waving it, who were saying that they were happy to come here, saying that they were happy to be here. You know, this is something where, by the way, over 67,000 South Africans have expressed interest in this. Of course, Stephen Miller, Elon Musk have talked about it, and the welcome at Dulles International Airport yesterday has gone viral. By the way, these are competent workers, people who know how to grow food, who are, by the way, actually facing direct death, slaughter, brutal killing at the hands of forces backed by their own government. And yet, for some reason, the media is upset at President Trump for allowing them to come in. Well, folks, all I have to say is real refugees welcome.
Now picture this, these farmers starting fresh in America, Trump's already got them headed to states like Idaho and Texas where their skills can shine. One bold idea on X says we should give them land bought up by big shots like Bill Gates and even China. Then why not let these farmers who've proven they can grow food take over and thrive? It's a plan, and it might be fantastic, and people are buzzing about it. So here's the idea. Check this out.
And we are excited to welcome you here to our country where we think you will bloom, and we will hopefully allow you to have fulfilling lives for your children, and then we will bloom and we will benefit alongside you. So thank you very much for coming here.
Yeah. I'd like to add, again, on behalf of President Trump, Secretary Noem, we're just so grateful that you guys are here.
South Africa's president is fuming, calling Trump's move unfair. He's pushing for talks next week, but Trump's not budging. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau welcomed these farmers, saying they're ready to grow in America. And that's what this is about, giving good people a shot, not bowing to foreign leaders who won't protect their own. Trump's proving he is the leader we need, putting American values first. And guys, that's the story for now. Hey guys,
Thanks,
this is Tom McCullagh.
for that powerful report from the White House. It's incredible to see these refugees finally finding safety on American soil after facing such persecution. Now let's dive deeper into what these South African farmers have actually experienced. Let's start by hearing directly from someone who has firsthand experience of the situation in South Africa. Now, I want you to hear the raw truth from someone who's lived through this hell. This isn't some State Department report. This is real life for these people. Listen.
In South Africa, if you're white, you have a target on your back, whether you live on a farm or whether you live in the suburbs. In 2011, they brutally and savagely murdered my wife's grandfather. They did not ask where he was born. He was born in Austria. However, when they saw the color of his skin, they did not ask where he was from. They savagely tortured him, strangled him, burnt him, and then murdered him. Before they did this, they also raped his wife in front of him to death. Yes, several men raped her to death. So living in South Africa is not for the faint-hearted. The ANC government goes out and continuously calls for the killing of the white minority. Now, not only the white men are suffering, but the women. There is basically no women's rights. Every 3 minutes, a woman is in South Africa. Countless infants below the age of 2 years old are on cultural beliefs in South Africa. Animals that get stolen or hacked to death alive. The cattle industry is also suffering because these guys go out and butcher animals while they're alive just to get meat and to fearmonger the farmers on their farms. Before they attack a house in the suburbs, they go and they poison the dogs, putting the dogs through absolute misery and pain. It is tear-jerking to think what is going on in my home country. And here I live in America as a refugee, and I've got safety and pleasures of life that my fellow South Africans cannot fathom.
Did you hear that? Torture, murder. And the mainstream media has the audacity to question whether these people are real refugees. It's demonic and it's evil. I mean, they're literally cheering for genocide because it doesn't fit their political agenda. Now, these monsters in the media would celebrate if all these farmers were wiped off the face of the earth. Okay? And here come the propagandists, right on cue. Watch how they immediately activate their mind control programming. Not one word about the documented violence, just straight to the rehearsed talking points. Watch.
You know, I think it's important for us to understand that the Trump administration is a lot of things, but one thing it certainly is a white nationalist project. And oftentimes we don't want to describe it as such. I'm not reducing it to it, because there's greed, there's graft, there's all sorts of things happening around it. But we need to understand the way in which great replacement theory is driving this. There's a sense in which the immigration policy is all about demographic shifts. There's a sense around the assault on voting rights and civil rights. It's all about who will have the decision-making power to determine who will run the country. And here, this idea that the republic must remain a white nation is evidenced in this move, which is so explicit that it cannot be denied. And so when we don't describe it for what it is, we become, in an ironic way, complicit in what they're doing. It's a white nationalist agenda, it seems to me.
And there it is. The big lie, the white nationalist project, great replacement theory. These are psychological warfare terms designed to shut down your critical thinking. They don't want you asking why these people qualify as refugees under international law. They don't want you to see the actual violence happening to real human beings. It's all deflection and distraction. Classic CIA Mockingbird media tactics. Now, watch as they outright lie about the violence. These people are worse than Baghdad Bob. They are spitting on the graves of the dead. Watch.
As you mentioned, it's taking places away from refugees who are really being crushed by authoritarian governments and military governments. For these folks who have never had anything happen to them. I mean, Trump amazingly called it a genocide, one of the worst lies I've ever heard him say. There's just been a small handful of farmers that have been killed over the past 10 years. No land has actually been expropriated. So it's just a farce and a sham and a moral ugliness.
What happens now that he's taken this step?
I don't know. I mean, it's like a Batman movie or something where all the bad guys get collected under one roof. I mean, like, who else do you now go and find other racists who have repressed people and give them refugee status here? It's just, I don't know where it goes from here. But I mean, you even said it. It's like a headline from The Onion. I don't even know how to get more extreme than this.
Never had anything happen to them? Small handful? This is beyond propaganda and is actively covering up atrocities. We've just heard firsthand testimony of torture and murder and unspeakable acts. Now, there are stacks of reports of deaths of farmers being butchered in their homes. But these folks with their teleprompters, they want you to believe it's all made up. They're laughing at the suffering of these families, and it's disgusting. Now, here's Stephen Crowder telling the truth about what's happening to these farmers.
These white farmers, for those who don't know, because some clips coming here may not make sense, they're referred to as boers, B-O-E-R-S. Boer. Boer. They're constantly. They've been attacked, murdered, their land has been destroyed with no protection from the government. So I know some of you are going to say, hasn't this been going on for a while? No, there have been murderous mobs who have faced no consequences from the government, but now it's codified into law where the government will be the murderous, tyrannical mob stealing your land.
And by the way, the guys, you can check me on this, but I think they're not allowed to own firearms as well to be able to protect themselves. I think that was one of the big kind of controversies. That there were, roaming groups of marauders killing white farmers indiscriminately, and they couldn't defend themselves.
An anti-gun law in Africa is funny to me.
It kind of is. It almost, I mean, an anti, like machete law, maybe the only thing that's funnier, but
Well, here's what's not funny. We couldn't even, the CIA couldn't even help undergird or fund a coup. Because in Africa, you have a murderous tyrant like Ramaphosa, and then the primary opposition is a would-be murderous communist. So you either get a fascist racist tyrant, or you get a fascist racist communist. So Julius Malema, he's the leader of the primary opposition party there, the Economic Freedom Fighters Party, a Marxist party. They're not a ruling party, but they're incredibly influential. They have a lot of popular support. And so the alternative to the government policy of seizing land of white people, of erasing any history that involves white people in that country, the alternative to that is this Malema character, who I don't like very much the more I learn about him, who is routinely called for blatant violence against, specifically, white people.
So that's the key, folks. This isn't just random crime. It's state-sanctioned persecution. The government is enabling it and now writing it into law. That's the textbook definition of what creates refugees. But the corporate-controlled media won't tell you that because they are running interference for a communist takeover in South Africa. They're testing their tactics there before bringing them here. This is the blueprint. And you want to know the smoking gun? Listen to the South African political leader Julius Malema in his own words. Watch.
We are not calling for the slaughter of white people, at least for now. That means at some future date, we may call for the slaughter of white people. Is that correct?
Let's deal with that at that future date. I don't know what's going to happen.
So you're saying you are not ruling out that in the future, you may very well call for the slaughter of white people?
It may not be me.
Could it be you?
It could be me, yes, but it may not be me.
Yeah, so it could be you. You could, at some future date, call for the slaughter of white people.
Shoot to kill! Hamaza! Kill the poor! The farmer! Kill the poor! The farmer! Brr, pa! Pa!
Unbelievable. Not calling for the slaughter, at least for now, right? This is a major political leader saying this on camera. If anyone else in any other country said this about any other group, the United Nations would be scrambling emergency sessions. There would be sanctions. There would be military intervention. But because it doesn't fit the globalist narrative, the media ignores it or simply downplays it. This is literally incitement to genocide happening in real time. Listen to more from this maniac.
Must never be scared to kill. A revolution demands that at some point there must be killing, because the killing is part of a revolutionary act.
I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm saying to you, we have not called for the killing of white people, at least for now. I can't guarantee the future.
Yeah, but I mean, you'd understand somebody watching that, especially as it gets shared on Twitter, they freak out. It sounds like a genocidal call.
Cry babies. Cry babies.
I'm not calling for the slaughter of white people, at least for now.
I can't give a guarantee of the future, especially when things are going the way they are.
Subtext.
Especially if things are going the way they are, there will be a revolution in this country, I can tell you now.
Never be scared to kill? Revolution demands killing? This is open calls for violence from a man with 44 seats in the parliament. This isn't some guy in a street corner. This is a powerful political figure with a militia at his disposal. Under any definition of refugee law, when political leaders are calling for your death, you qualify for asylum. But the corporate media is too busy defending their precious narrative to acknowledge reality. Let's hear more about what these refugees are actually facing. The details are going to shock you to your core. Watch.
You know, being a house owner in America, I actually own a house that hasn't got a 10-foot fence around it, which feels weird. And nothing seems to be changing in South Africa because the government doesn't want it to change. They want the white man to suffer. They want the white woman to suffer. They want the children to suffer. They are killing the language. They are killing the people. And what they are standing for is ungodly and unethical and immoral. And I honestly believe that Cyril Ramaphosa, Julius Malema, and the ANC will be held accountable and need to appear in front of a jury on accounts of crimes against humanity and against the white minority in South Africa.
Women and children being targeted, unspeakable things happening to infants. The government continuously calling for killing. This is hell on earth. And the soulless schools and the corporate media are questioning whether these people are real refugees. It's beyond sick. If this was happening to any other group, there would be unanimous global condemnation, but because it doesn't fit their political agenda, they're willing to sacrifice these families on the altar of their ideology. So here's the legal proof that these are legitimate refugees. The government is stripping them of their property through discriminatory laws. Watch.
First of all, I want to talk about South Africa, the Afrikaners, so you guys are understanding the context of these refugees coming into our country and the genocide that is indeed occurring. So the South African government recently introduced a land expropriation law that enables the government to seize ethnic minority Afrikaners' agricultural property without any kind of compensation. Just take their land because they happen to be Afrikaners. This is, of course, in the context of Afrikaners for years having their land and jobs stolen from them thanks to communist wealth redistribution policies, often resulting in Afrikaner squatter camps. These people are often living in abject poverty. And I haven't even mentioned the countless Afrikaners, particularly the farmers, who have become victims of some of the most gruesome murders documented in modern history. Scalding water poured into their ears to maximize pain before death, hacked apart with machetes, blowtorched to death, hung from trees or beams in their own homes. It's not just taking the farmers' land, taking what these race Marxists believe is theirs, but it is literally torturing them because of such a deep and intense racial hatred that has been allowed to manifest, sanctioned by political leaders in South Africa. Like I said, this is actively encouraged by the leadership in that country.
This is communism in action, folks. First, they target a minority group, then they seize their property, then they turn a blind eye when the mob commits violence. It's the same playbook from Mao's China, from Stalin's Russia, from Pol Pot's Cambodia, and it's coming here if we don't stand up to it. Now, these aren't just farmers. They are canaries in the coal mine warning us about what's coming for all of us if we don't resist this global communist takeover. Now, take a look at CNN's shameless lies. Watch.
Okay. So if you think about the history of South Africa, it being under an apartheid system, where I think it is 80% of the population that are Black Africans only own 4% of the land. That is because they were put in shanty towns and moved into areas where they had no rights. And so 30 plus years ago, they went through the apartheid system ended, and they reformed their constitution under the great leader of Nelson Mandela. And that allowed for a racial reconciliation, one that this country has yet to do. But South Africa did it, and they reformed their constitution, and part of that is that the people who are native to that land deserve their rightful land back. That is not what the Afrikaners actually want to have happen, which are the white Africans, and so who are not originally from Africa, who colonized South Africa also. And so that is what they are saying is discrimination. Now, if the Constitution in South Africa is discriminatory, they have their checks and balances in that land, just like we do. And that is for them to, so if the Afrikaners don't actually like the land, they can leave that country.
They are. They're leaving to come here.
No. They can
These refugees are coming here.
They can actually leave and go to where their native land is, which is probably Germany.
Are you against them coming here?
Holland, probably. Holland.
Are you against them coming here?
I'm against the hypocrisy of this administration.
No, that's not the question. The question is, are you against them coming here?
If there was actually a genocide happening, like there is in other places in Sudan, in the Congo, I'm not opposed for Congolese and for the Sudanese to come to Africa, just like I'm not opposed to Venezuelans and South Americans coming to America if they are fleeing and looking for asylum. What I am
just these 50 people you're against.
I am against, it's not about being against them. What I am against is that they are being given special treatment when there is not a genocide happening in South Africa, and they just don't like the law of the land. Well, so you know what they tell people?
Not a genocide. Don't like the law of the land. This is Orwellian doublespeak. When the law of the land is targeting you for elimination, that is the definition of genocide. The United Nations Genocide Convention specifically includes, quote, deliberately inflicting on the group's conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction, end quote. That's exactly what's happening. CNN is actively participating in genocide denial. They're complicit, and they have the blood on their hands. And get this, an Obama official admits these refugees weren't responsible for apartheid, but still blames them for it. Listen.
Trump has virtually halted refugee admission in America for people fleeing war and famine in places like Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Back with Rick, Mark, and Eddie. Rick Stengel.
Yes, it's so deeply and morally wrong-headed and repulsive. These are the descendants of the people who created the most diabolical system of white supremacy in human history, apartheid. They're not directly responsible for it, but it was a system that actually moved black people off of the arable land. So they inherited the land that the black people had to give up. It was called forced removal. It was something called a Bantustan policy, where they moved black people out of the cities and farmlands into these remote areas with non-arable land. I mean, it was just one of the most worst processes ever. But what has happened in this strange, bizarre world we're living in is that the Afrikaners have become the darling of these right-wing white supremacist movements around the world, that it's like the lost cause for them. It's like the old Confederacy. They're held up as these white Christians who are being dispossessed of their land. It's like this is a modern replacement theory in a country where, by the way, white people make up 7% of the population and own 78% of the farmland. So it's actually, there's no injustice here.
He admits they're not directly responsible for apartheid, then immediately condemns them for it anyway. This is ancestral guilt. It's biblical condemnation, visiting the sins of the fathers upon the sons. Since when does refugee law consider that your grandparents did? It doesn't. This is demonic thinking designed to justify letting people die because of who their ancestors were. These people would bring back human sacrifice if they could get away with it. Watch. Meanwhile, the Trump administration is focusing on saving lives and welcoming refugees as they should. Watch.
And we are excited to welcome you here to our country where we think you will bloom, and we will hopefully allow you to have fulfilling lives for your children, and then we will bloom and we will benefit alongside you. So thank you very much for coming here.
Yeah. I'd like to add, again, on behalf of President Trump, Secretary Noem, we're just so grateful that you guys are here.
So this is what America stands for, giving people a second chance after they've faced prosecution. There is no racial agenda here, just the basic human decency that made this country great. And the Trump administration is applying refugee law exactly as written. But the globalist media can't stand it because it doesn't fit their divide and conquer strategy. They need racial conflict to advance their control grid. Ladies and gentlemen, what we're in the middle of is an information war. The same media that cheers for certain refugee groups is condemning these South African farmers to die because it doesn't fit their political narrative. They don't care about legal standards or documented persecution or human lives. What they do care about is controlling what you think. And President Trump is doing what any decent human being would do, offering protection to people facing brutal violence and government persecution. It's not about race. It's about basic humanity. But the globalist control freaks, they can't allow that narrative because it would show that Trump is doing the right thing. The truth is breaking through their wall of lies, and people are waking up to the media's manipulation. They're seeing that the same standards should apply to all refugees regardless of who they are, and that terrifies the power structure because of their divide and conquer strategy is falling apart. This is bigger than just South Africa. This is about the global agenda to rewrite reality itself. So stand strong. Spread the truth. The information war is accelerating, and we are winning. And share your insights in the comments below. Your perspective on these critical developments, they really matter. And remember to head over to the Next News shop and gear up with some Patriot gear and support our work at the Next News Network. All right. Crazy, man. Absolutely crazy what's happening there in South Africa. And then it's a shame. And what makes me so angry is when I think about how what the media is doing. I mean, how shameful it is. It's disgusting. Okay, we gotta move on to my next topic here. We are at okay, I'm just looking for something. Okay, all right, let's move on to our next topic here. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got to tell you something that is absolutely earth-shattering. We have confirmation today of what I've been telling you for 20 years. The globalist medical cartel has been deliberately poisoning American citizens. Now, I have the government documents. Robert F. Kennedy, Jr. has gone into the belly of the beast at Health and Human Services, and he's exposing their entire criminal operation. It's not theory anymore, folks. This is admitted by the government itself. They have been putting petroleum in your children's food. They have been creating events that in laboratories that create global events, and they've been allowing foreign governments to loot Medicare. And now for the first time, we have people in power telling the truth about it. I've got the evidence, and by the end of this broadcast, you'll understand that everything I've been warning about for decades is actually happening right now. And just as RFK Jr. is fighting to transform our healthcare system, there is a natural revolution happening in blood pressure management. While pharmaceutical giants push their expensive solutions, they're desperately trying to suppress information about this breakthrough formula. It's the same approach that's helping thousands reclaim their health naturally. Now, the big medical establishment don't want you to know about it because it threatens their bottom line. But now you can access this breakthrough at boostwithgary.com. Get up to 40% off during the special broadcast offer and take control of your health naturally. Now, I want you to listen carefully about what I'm going to play. This is Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the Secretary of Health and Human Services, admitting that the entire healthcare system is designed to make Americans sick for profit. This isn't me saying it anymore. This is the government admitting it. Listen to this bombshell.
And in this, we all share a vision that's been a lifelong vision for all of us, which is to make our country healthy, to have evidence-based science, to have gold standard replicable science, and then use that to challenge what we have this kind of bedrock system that is destroying our health, which is a complete misalignment of economic incentives and public health. Yesterday we met with the heads of all the biggest pharmaceutical companies, and I said, I want to live in a place where you can make money by making people healthy. And right now we're all aligned against each other. The healthcare system in this country is a bundle of perverse incentives that force people to do the wrong thing. And we've turned this country into a sick care system rather than a health care system. And all these people are the people who are going to change that.
Did you hear that, America? The Secretary of Health and Human Services just admitted that the healthcare system is destroying our health. It's a bundle of perverse incentives. That's exactly what I've been telling you for decades. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed. It's a criminal enterprise designed to make you sick and then profit off your illness. This is not a conspiracy theory anymore. It's admitted by our own government. And Kennedy just told the pharmaceutical companies to their faces that they're making money by keeping people sick. This is the greatest admission of corporate criminality in American history. But it gets even worse, folks. Keep listening.
Really remarkable watching that interview last week with you and Bret Baier and the four of you. I cannot remember ever seeing a more radical departure from the previous administration to a current administration. And with this announcement with the food dyes, how big a part of everything you want to get done are these dyes?
Well, the dyes are, important both from a reality point of view. They're linked to cancers. They're linked to ADHD, to all kinds of neurological impacts. There are 9 synthetic petroleum-based food dyes that we're going to get rid of. The 2 worst ones, citrus red and orange number 2, we're going to get, within the next 2 months, we're going to get them off the market. We're going to revoke their authorizations. We're going to revoke the authorizations for red dye number 3 much quicker than the Biden administration during the last days had announced that they were going to get rid of red dye number 3 by 2027. We're going to do it much, much faster.
For years, I've been telling you they're putting petroleum in your children's food. Petroleum, yes, the same stuff that they make gasoline from. The same stuff they make plastic from. Of course, I was called crazy, ridiculed, and censored. Well, now the Secretary of Health and Human Services is admitting it and now taking emergency action to stop it. There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, petroleum-based food dyes in your children's cereal, in their candy, in their drinks, in their medicine. And they've known about it for decades. Okay. Now, was the Biden administration going to phase out any of these toxic chemicals by 2027? I don't think so. But now we have RFK Jr. there. But you see, they weren't going to phase it out in the last administration because they wanted more poison in your children's food. It's criminal. It's sick. They should literally be in prison for this. But Kennedy is taking immediate action, banning the worst ones in 60 days. This is really unprecedented. This is the government finally admitting that they've been allowing the chemical poisoning of Americans for generations, and this is only the beginning. Now watch what happens when the food industry gets caught red-handed putting these petroleum chemicals in their food. They're scrambling to remove them because they know what they have been doing. They know these chemicals cause cancer. They know they cause behavioral disorders in children. Listen to this.
The food industry has really stepped up, and I'm so, we're working together. We're very well together within the agency, FDA, NIH, and CDC. But the industry's working with us. And, yesterday, Tyson Foods announced that it's going to get rid of all of its synthetic dyes by May. So the industry is coming to the table. They're talking to us. They're taking this seriously. And I'm very, very happy with John King at Tyson's for really, he told me when we met with them 2 months ago, we're going to get this done. And no matter what anybody tells you, the industry can do this. And he's really stepped up in an amazing way. It's one of the biggest food companies, and they're taking their dye out of all of their products. So, I'm very optimistic that we can get this done. Americans support it. They don't want to be eating petroleum anymore.
No, we don't. No, we don't want to be eating petroleum anymore. Thank you, RFK Jr. Quote, Tyson Foods, one of the biggest food companies in America, is removing all synthetic dyes by May, not next year. Not in 5 years, in months. So ask yourself why they can do it so quickly. Because they've always known these chemicals are toxic. Because they've been poisoning you deliberately. Now they've been caught. And now they're racing to clean up their act. But it's too late. The damage is done. Generations of Americans have been chemically damaged by these petroleum products. This is chemical warfare against the American people by the food corporations, and they're only stopping because they got caught. It's criminal, but keep listening because it gets even worse. Yes, I've been telling you for years, the FDA is a criminal protection racket for Big Pharma. That instead of protecting the public, they've been spending their time and your tax dollars trying to silence people like me who tell the truth. Now listen to the new FDA commissioner, a real doctor, not a pharmaceutical company puppet, admitting everything I've been saying. Watch.
I know you all have a lot of balls in the air, but I'd love to go down the row and just talk about the big thing that each of you are dealing with, working on. First, FDA. Marty?
Well, first of all, we want to focus the agency on cures and meaningful treatments. In the last administration, the number one priority the commissioner stated was fighting misinformation, and the DEI staff ballooned out. We want to focus on cures and meaningful treatments. We believe in the letter and the spirit of right to try, and there's amazing stuff in the pipeline I've seen. We're talking about new treatments for stage 4 cancers, for neurodegenerative disorders, for diabetes that we've never seen before. Why does it take 10 years on average for drugs to come to market? Why are we blaming children for being sick and not looking at our food supply? Why are we thinking it's a willpower problem as we watch half of our nation's children with belly pain or attention deficit disorder or on medications? And can we use common sense and gold standard science both? And that's the charge that we have from Secretary Kennedy.
You've also...
That's a bombshell right there. The FDA commissioner just admitted the previous administration's top priority was fighting so-called misinformation, meaning censoring truth tellers like me, not approving life-saving drugs, not protecting food safety, just silencing dissent. And while Americans were dying, waiting for treatments, they were busy hiring DEI bureaucrats. It's criminal. But the most shocking admission, half of America's children have chronic health problems. Half. Okay? They're attacking our children, the most medicated generation in human history, and the FDA commissioner just admitted it's not the children's fault, it's the food supply. This confirms everything I have been warning about. They have been systematically poisoning American children through the food supply, and the government agencies that were supposed to protect us were busy trying to silence the whistleblowers. It's the greatest crime in American history. And now the lying mainstream media, they've been running propaganda claiming that Kennedy and his team, they want to cut Medicare and Medicaid. It's what they always do. Lie about anyone trying to expose their criminal operation. But Dr. Oz, now running CMS, just destroyed their entire false narrative. Listen to this.
Mehmet, there's a lot of focus on Medicaid and Medicare, and it gets demagogued all the time that you're coming after it, that you're going to kill it, that you're going to cut it. What do you say to all that?
Our goal is to put health back in Health and Human Services. And under Secretary Kennedy, and that's why we're all here, we're laser focused on the broader picture, the more holistic picture. In the back of this wonderful theater that we're recording in now, there's a quote from Hubert Humphrey. The building's named after him. He's a Democrat. And he said it's the moral obligation of government to take care of those of us at the very dawn of our lives, children, at the twilight of our life, the elderly, and those living in the shadows. That's our focus. It's quality of care at all levels. And we're working together to make sure that happens. In every single scenario that we're looking at, we are increasing payment in Medicaid, putting more money into Medicaid. Increasing. So the question is, how do you spend that money so efficiently that you stop throwing money at problems, but actually deal with the broader health needs? Addressing the fundamental reality that 70% of the money that CMS spends, and that's on Medicare, Medicaid, the exchanges, CHIP, 70% of the money we spend is on chronic illness. And we're not getting our money's worth. So for folks listening right now, it's your patriotic duty to be as healthy as you can, and it's our job to help you get there, make it easy to do the right things. At the same time, we've got to make wise decisions because we're stewards who have to protect the money for the population that Hubert Humphrey described.
The exact opposite of what the corporate-controlled media has been claiming. They are increasing Medicare and Medicaid funding. The media lied to you again. But it's not just about the money. It's about creating actual health instead of just paying more for drugs and surgeries. It's quite revolutionary. For the first time, we have people in charge who understand that health isn't created by pharmaceutical companies. It's created by removing the poisons from our food, our water, and environment. The medical establishment obviously terrified because healthy people don't need their toxic drugs and experimental procedures. Their entire business model is based on keeping you sick. That's why they're deploying their media puppets to lie about Kennedy's plans. But the truth is coming out, and they can't stop it. But it gets even more sinister, ladies and gentlemen. While Americans are struggling to afford health care, foreign governments and organized crime are looting Medicare and Medicaid for billions of dollars. I've been telling you for years these programs are being systematically plundered, and now Dr. Oz is confirming it. Listen to the shocking numbers.
Fiscal year 2024, largest percentage of improper payments, $54 billion Medicare, $31 billion Medicaid. Earned income tax credit was 15, SNAP was 10.5. But I mean, you're looking at 5 million in improper payments?
Billion.
That's an underestimate.
Yeah. Here's the thing. We have a war room now, to fight back against adversaries. And these aren't just small-time players. These are foreign governments, weaponized, organized crime. And why are they coming after us? Because our budget is nearly $2 trillion if you include the monies that are spent that we direct but sometimes don't come out of our pocketbooks. But the direct budget just for CMS is $1.75 trillion. That's twice the defense budget. So there's a big target on our back, and folks are coming after it. And they're the kinds of things that should make you mad. It's USAID on steroids, frankly. I'll give you a couple examples. Almost 250,000 Americans found out by surprise because they got an IRS notice that they had gotten the Affordable Care Act insurance without knowing it. Why would you sign someone up without telling them they have insurance? Because brokers can steal the money. We have hundreds of millions of dollars spent on housekeeping. We have tens of millions of dollars spent on public unions getting free child care or student tuition or DEI programs. I have an obligation, all of us do, to protect the people that Humphrey was speaking about. And if we're not going to protect the most vulnerable, that's who they're stealing money from, then we're not doing our job. So we're going after, there's a new sheriff in town, and we're coming after folks in a very big way.
A new sheriff in town. $84.5 billion stolen. And that's an underestimate. These are astronomical numbers, folks. Foreign governments, organized crime syndicates, looting American healthcare dollars. And where were the safeguards? Where were the watchdogs? They were just too busy trying to censor people like me instead of protecting taxpayer money. It's not just incompetence, though. It is deliberate. The deep state allows this theft because they profit from it. The more chaos in the system, the more they can steal. It's a criminal enterprise masquerading as healthcare, and now Kennedy and his team are setting up a war room to fight back against these foreign enemies. This isn't politics anymore. This is warfare against criminal cartels that have infiltrated our healthcare system. It's unprecedented. Now, I want to go to our reporter, Tom McCullagh, who has been on the ground at the White House covering this massive story. Tom has some explosive information about Kennedy's philosophical approach to science and how he's destroying the globalist control grid. Watch.
Hey guys, this is Tom McCullagh reporting from the White House with the Next News Network. And guys, we have a bombshell today that's shaking the very foundations of what they call science. Robert Kennedy Jr., a man President Trump has tapped to bring real change to our health system, dropped a truth bomb that's got the so-called experts running for cover. RFK Jr. saying that questioning science isn't just okay, it's the only way science works. He's calling out the lie that science is ever settled. It's always progressing and it's always evolving. And get this, he says, trust the experts isn't about science or democracy at all. It's about totalitarianism and religion. That's right, guys. The same people who told you to trust the science during the pandemic are also the ones who wanted to shut down the debate. But RFK Jr. is here to make science great again. So go ahead and check out this clip.
And we can make answers. And above all, we are going to get rid of the taboos about challenging orthodoxies, about challenging consensus. And we're telling the public every day, all of us, that is not science. You know, your whole industry was telling the public for years, trust the experts. Trust the experts is not a function of science or democracy. It's a function of totalitarianism and religion.
You testified on Capitol Hill that you're not
Now let's talk about what this means. RFK Jr. isn't just challenging the narrative, he's exposing it. He's saying that the real science thrives on questions, on challenges, and on progress, not on blind obedience to so-called experts who've been wrong time and time again. Remember when they told us the vaccines were safe and effective? Well, RFK Jr. is not buying it, and neither should you. He's calling out the lies from Biden and Trudeau, saying that we should never forget and never forgive. This is about making America healthy again, making Canada healthy again, and it's about truth, and President Trump knows it. That's why he's got RFK on his team, because when it comes to science, the only thing settled is that it is never settled, and that's a win for all of us. Again, this is Tom reporting from the White House. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Tom. Look, this is nuclear level information. Kennedy just obliterated the entire foundation of their globalist control system. Trust the experts is a function of a totalitarian regime. Okay, this is what I've been telling you about for decades. The so-called scientific consensus is nothing but a control mechanism. It's a priesthood demanding your blind obedience. Real science questions. Real science challenges. Real science isn't afraid to debate, but during COVID, they censored doctors, they banned treatments, they silenced dissent, all in the name of trusting the experts. And now the Secretary of Health and Human Services is calling it what it is, totalitarianism masquerading as science. And this is the most important philosophical shift of our lifetime, folks. The spell is broken, the lie is exposed, and as Tom reported, science is never settled. That's the fundamental truth that they've been hiding from you. So while all this is happening, communist China has been waging chemical warfare against American children. They've been shipping gaming devices with hidden vaping components designed to addict our children to nicotine. Now, I've been warning about the China plan to weaken America through addiction for years, and now the government is finally admitting to it. Listen.
Obviously done the dyes recently, and we covered that extensively. There's this question about vapes coming over from China, and that they're really pervasive in our country, and kids with like video games and getting vapes, and they're dangerous. That falls under FDA.
Yeah, it does. These are devices that are designed to get kids addicted to playing a video game, and there's an inhalation port in the device. They're showing up at our borders, and what we have been doing is just sending them back. And so the Chinese manufacturers are just sending it to another port. It's called port shopping, and they all get in. They're laughing at us. So that's going to stop in this administration. We're not going to allow these devices to get in. We're going to confiscate them.
Chinese chemical warfare against American children. Let that sink in. Devices specifically designed to get children addicted to nicotine while they play video games. This is a deliberate attack on the next generation. And what was our previous response? Just sending them back so they could try another port. It's insanity. The Chinese Communist Party has been laughing at us while they poison our children. This is an act of war. But now finally, we have an administration taking real action, confiscating these weapons of addiction. This is about national security. This is about the future of America. The globalists want us weakened, addicted, and a sick population that's easier to control, and they've been using China as their delivery mechanism. But their plan is being exposed, and it's being stopped. Now comes the nuclear admission that confirms everything I have been telling you about COVID. For years, I've been saying COVID was created in a lab through gain-of-function research. Of course, I was censored. I was demonized. I was called a conspiracy theorist. I had videos deleted. Now listen to the Secretary of Health and Human Services confirming everything I've ever reported. Watch.
Gain of function just signed this executive order the other day in the Oval Office. What does that mean to the average person? You can stop it on the U.S. side, but obviously it's happening around the world.
The U.S. is the primary state that sets the example for how to do this kind of work around the world. When the U.S. says, look, we're not going to allow scientists to play God, take viruses with cockamamie justifications, make them more transmissible, more deadly, that doesn't protect us against anybody, and it causes tremendous risk. And what the president did by signing this order is he said, no more. We're not going to have another lab-generated pandemic on my watch.
Another lab-generated pandemic. Another. Did you hear that? They just admitted that COVID-19 was lab-generated. Not from a wet market, not from bat soup, from a laboratory created by scientists playing God with deadly viruses. And funded by your tax dollars through Anthony Fauci's NIH. This is the greatest admission in modern history. They lied to you for years. They censored the truth. They destroyed lives and businesses with lockdowns based on a lie. They forced experimental injections into people based on a lie. And now the government's admitting it. I mean, this is ground for criminal prosecutions. No wonder Anthony Fauci got a pardon. I mean, the people responsible for this need to be in prison, and President Trump just signed an executive order making sure they can never do it again. I mean, it's almost justice. We'd love to see them behind bars, but at least right now, the truth is finally coming out. Watch.
NIH, always looking to the next thing, but there are people concerned that funding is drying up. In the president's budget, FDA is spared, but there's $33.3 billion cut from HHS, $18 billion from NIH, $674 million from CMS. Does that affect you, and how do you portray that about what NIH is doing?
I mean, I think the key fact I look at for NIH is that the mission of the NIH is supposed to do research that improves the health and longevity of the American people. And since 2012, we've seen no increase in life expectancy in this country. In that sense, the NIH has not done its mission over the last dozen years. And in fact, NIH was involved in supporting research that may have actually led to the pandemic that we all just went through.
Wow. Did you hear what you said? Life expectancy declining in America, the richest country on earth with the most advanced technology, and Americans are dying younger than their parents. This is a catastrophic failure. And what has the NIH been doing with your billions of tax dollars? Funding dangerous virus research in Chinese laboratories, research that they just admitted may have actually led to the pandemic. This is criminal negligence at best and deliberate harm at worst. The NIH has become nothing more than a funding mechanism for pharmaceutical companies and dangerous research. Instead of improving American health, they have been creating bioweapons, and now it's all coming out. The entire criminal enterprise is being exposed. From petroleum dyes in your children's food to fraudulent payments in Medicare from Chinese addiction devices to laboratory-created viruses, the whole system is coming down. The people who called us conspiracy theorists for telling the truth are being exposed as the real conspirators. And for the first time in my lifetime, we have people in power who are fighting to protect Americans from predatory globalist health cartel. Now, will they try to stop this? Absolutely. The forces that profit from human suffering are already mobilizing against Kennedy and his team. They're going to use their media puppets to spread lies. They'll use their social media platforms to censor the truth. They'll deploy their pharmaceutical front groups to attack anyone exposing them. But it is too late. The information is out. The government has admitted what we have been saying for decades. This is a pivotal moment in American history. The moment when the people finally learn the truth about what's been done to them. Make no mistake, this is only the beginning. There's much more coming. The entire corrupt system is going to be exposed. So take action right now. Share this broadcast everywhere. Download it before they try to remove it. And tell everyone you know what you have learned today. The only thing that can stop this momentum is your inaction. This is not a time to sit back. This is a time to fight for the future of America. Now let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Your experiences with our healthcare system, they matter in this crucial debate. And you can support real news by hitting the link in the description. shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Oh, man. You angry yet? Yeah. Unbelievable. Wow. Literally at a loss. Wounds are Russ, dropping 5. Glyco optimizers for blood sugar control, not blood pressure. Curio 23. Rockefeller pushed petroleum-based medications to increase his profits, funded studies to denounce natural herbal remedies and medicine. No shocker there. Let's continue with our next report on Hakeem Jeffries. Okay, so we've got Todd. We got a hit from Tom. Okay, so we've got okay. All right, let's go. What happened in the halls of Congress yesterday crossed a line that can never be uncrossed. The Democrat leadership is scrambling to contain the fallout from what we're about to show you. Our White House correspondent, Tom McCullagh, just reported from the White House earlier today on statements made behind closed doors about presidential authority, and it's far worse than anyone imagined. When you hear what these Democrat leaders said about executive power, you will understand why they are desperate to keep this quiet. The implications for our constitutional republic are staggering. I'm going to show you Tom's report, and it has Washington buzzing. And just as we're witnessing an unprecedented assault on executive authority, there's another hidden attack happening on your testosterone levels. Our investigation reveals something shocking, a common healthy food that's secretly destroying men's T levels. The same establishment trying to undermine presidential power doesn't want you knowing about this testosterone-killing ingredient, but now, thanks to groundbreaking research from Test Boost Max, you can fight back. Visit sculptnation.com/NNN. It's linked down below to discover what this food is and how to naturally boost your testosterone levels. Take back your power just like our president is doing. Now, I've got that report from Tom McCullagh on the Democrat Civil War. Timu, Dollar Store, Obama, Hakeem Jeffries, threatening law enforcement while Pritzker calls for chaos in the streets. Radical leftists protecting MS-13 killers while their mobs storm federal buildings. This is the same people who burned our cities. They now want to destroy peace for Republicans. Let's check in with Tom at the White House.
So they're extremists. Hey guys, this is Tom McCullagh reporting from the White House with the Next News Network, and we're one of the few places you can still get the real story. No fake news here, guys. Not in this press room. Plenty in that one, though. We're standing tall for President Trump, who's fighting every day to make America great, while the radical left keeps showing their true colors. So tonight we've got a lineup that'll make your blood boil. Democrat leaders like Hakeem Jeffries threatening law enforcement, J.B. Pritzker calling for chaos, and leftist protesters who think they can storm federal buildings and get away with it. So let's go ahead and dive right in. You can tell it's raining really bad, and I just didn't want the umbrella over me. So first up, Hakeem Jeffries, the Democrat House Minority Leader, is out here acting like he runs the show. He's got the nerve to threaten DHS agents, good, hardworking folks who are just trying to do their jobs. Why? Because some Democrat members of Congress assaulted federal officers at an ICE facility in New Jersey. Jeffries is warning DHS not to arrest them, saying they'll regret it if they do. And can you guys believe that? Like, the left wants to protect their own even when they break the law. So let's go ahead and check this out.
Your statement the other day after there was this incident in Newark, you said they better not touch our members.
Correct.
What happens if they were to go and arrest these members, or if they would try to sanction them here in the House of Representatives?
They'll find out.
What would you do?
They'll find out.
What recourse? But doesn't that broach a...
They'll find out.
Doesn't that go across...
That's a red line.
What's the red line, though? I know we have this...
It's a red line. It's very clear. First of all, I think that the so-called Homeland Security spokesperson is a joke. It's a joke. They know better than to go down that road, and it's been made loudly and abundantly clear to the Trump administration. We're not going to be intimidated by their tactics to try to force principled opposition from not standing up to their extremism. It hasn't happened during the entirety of this failed term. It didn't happen when Donald Trump temporarily was sitting high in the immediate aftermath of the election. Do you think it's going to happen now, when he's the most unpopular president in American history after his first 100 days? Give me a break. No one's intimidated by this dude. No one. And so there are clear lines that they just dare not cross.
So this is what we're dealing with, folks. Democrats think they're above the law, and they'll do anything to stop Trump's agenda, like keeping our borders secure. That's a good start. Speaking of borders, Jeffries and his crew are also fighting tooth and nail to stop the deportation of dangerous MS-13 members. You heard that right. These are the same murderers, human traffickers, and domestic abusers, but the left wants them here. Why? More votes, more power, and that is the only part of their game. They're even taking their fight to the Supreme Court, demanding the return of a deported MS-13 suspect, Kilmar Albrego Garcia, despite his violent history. Trump's team is doing the right thing, locking these thugs up in El Salvador where they belong. But the left cries, injustice. It's completely unbelievable. Now, let's talk about another Democrat darling, J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, a so-called presidential hopeful. Spoiler alert, he's not going to win. Pritzker's out there fanning the flames of violence, telling his followers to disrupt Republicans at every turn. He's saying they shouldn't have a moment of peace, not 1 second. But the same guy who's been cozying up to the radical left, pushing their anti-Trump agenda while ignoring the real issues facing Americans. Here's what he had to say. Watch this. It's outrageous.
In the times upon which history turns. Never before in my life have I called for mass protests, for mobilization, for disruption, but I am now. These Republicans cannot know a moment of peace. They have to understand that we will fight their cruelty with every megaphone and microphone that we have. We must castigate them on the soapbox and then punish them at the ballot box. They must feel in their bones that when we survive this shameful episode of American history with our democracy intact, because we have no alternative but to do just that, that we will relegate their portraits to the museum halls reserved for tyrants and traitors.
Pritzker's words aren't just hot air, folks. Even though it looks like a hot air balloon, this is a call to the action for the left's army of protesters, the same ones who've been wreaking havoc for years. Let's not forget how they operate. Last November, pro-Palestine activists stormed the Hart Senate building in D.C., demanding senators block weapons sales to Israel. They flooded the place, shouting, resisting, causing chaos in the halls of Congress. These are the same kind of people who think it's okay to destroy property and attack anyone who disagrees with them. Take a look at this madness. And it gets worse. Back in February, we saw anti-immigration protests turn ugly, really ugly. Thousands of protesters clashed with police, throwing glass bottles and anything they can get their hands on. Officers were just trying to keep the peace, but the left doesn't care. They want disorder, plain and simple. This is what they do. Violence is their weapon, and here's the proof. So let's step back for a second and remember the bigger picture. The left loves to claim the moral high ground, but they've got a long history of terror and destruction. Think back to the so-called Summer of Love in 2020. Billions of dollars in property damage from their peaceful protests, businesses burned, lives ruined, and Democrat leaders cheered it on. They've sent their mobs to harass Supreme Court justices at their homes, trying to intimidate them into submission. They've destroyed small businesses, looted stores, and now they're openly calling for more chaos. Pritzker says Republicans shouldn't have peace, and Jeffries is protecting lawmakers who assault federal agents. This isn't leadership, it's a tantrum. And for what? Power. The Democrats are desperate to hold on to it, even if it means protecting dangerous criminals like MS-13 gang members. They're fighting Trump's deportation policies every single step of the way. And Americans need to be kept safe. Trump's cracking down on legal immigration, designating gangs like MS-13 as terrorist organizations, but the left would rather let these monsters roam free in our neighborhoods. They want open borders, more congressional seats, and they don't care who gets hurt in the process. It's really raining out here. I'm almost done. President Trump is the only one standing between us and this insanity. He's fighting for law and order, for secure borders, and for the safety of every American. While the left throws bottles and makes threats, Trump's building a stronger, safer America. And that's the difference, guys. That's why we're here at the Next News Network, bringing you the truth from the White House press room. Again, I'm Tom McCullagh, and we'll keep exposing the left's hypocrisy, even in the rain. God bless. Hey, guys.
Oh, man. Tom McCullagh, he said it was raining today. I told him to go inside the press room and do his hits, but he said that there was a lot of people who were there, and because it was raining, everyone was using the press room. He had to get the work done, and he definitely got soaked. So give Tom a shout out in the comments below for his dedication to giving us the real news right from the soaking White House grounds. Let's take a listen real quick here, because apparently, what do you got, a clip here relating to AOC. Trish, Ohio, to AOC. I'd like to ask AOC, what does she want out of the detention facility?
So Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has deemed it necessary for her to interject herself in an issue that would seem to have nothing to do with her district. And she's warning y'all, don't mess with the Democratic members of Congress. Listen to what she said.
If anyone's breaking the law in this situation, it's not members of Congress, it's the Department of Homeland Security. It's people like Tom Homan and Secretary Kristi Noem. You lay a finger on someone, on Representative Bonnie Watson-Coleman or any of the representatives that were there, you lay a finger on them, we are going to have a problem.
Well, the problem would seem to be that those people may have been laying fingers or at least body slamming federal agents who were there. What do you say to the good Congresswoman?
I'd like to ask AOC, who does she want out of that detention facility? Is it the MS-13 members? Is it the known terrorists? Is it the child rapists? Is it the murderers? Who is she fighting for? Because she's not fighting for Americans. She's not fighting for American victims. And I'd like to lay out the facts. The fact that it was these 3 members of Congress who trespassed, broke the law, and stormed that ICE detention facility. They put law enforcement at risk. They put our detainees at risk, and they put our staff at risk. Had they asked for a tour, we would have happily facilitated one for them, but there was absolutely no notice. And the fact that they put hands, they body slammed, body rammed, push, shove, whatever you want to call it, it was assault on our ICE agents, and it's unacceptable.
So Alexandria...
Yeah, so AOC, she can keep levying threats. But we're going to keep pushing back and exposing these people, just like Tom was doing right there, the White House getting soaked. So the Democrat leadership's actions we've covered tonight represent an unprecedented challenge to constitutional authority. It's not about political disagreements. It's about the fundamental balance of power in our republic. We're watching attempts to rewrite the rules of presidential authority in real time with implications that could affect our system of government for generations to come. But here is the crucial question. Why are they willing to risk constitutional crisis just to obstruct presidential authority? What are they so desperate to prevent that they would challenge centuries of established executive power? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and remember to give Tom McCullagh a shout out for reporting in the rain. Remember, your voice matters in this critical debate. And make sure you check out the next news shop and stand with us and the truth. Oh, man. Tom McCullagh, man. I didn't realize it was that wet out there, man. That was awesome. Mrs. Ray Paul, artist with purple hair. AOC has donkey teeth. And we have a super chat. Let's see what it is. Barbara, keep doing a great job, Gary. Thank you, Barbara. We're doing the best we can here. And we can't do it without you guys. You guys make it all possible. And I want to get into some of the latest happenings in the news feed right now. Check in on the latest before we call it a day here at the Next News Network. See what we have here. Trump's plan is monumental for world success. In essence, he's restructuring traffic and trade. Trump's $1 trillion plan for AI, China, and defense. John Strand, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit ruled that Florida's anti-explicit drag show law is likely unconstitutional on its face. Okay. Trump made it cool to love America again. Thank you for visiting FA. You are now entering FO. Our boy says, Tom going beast mode in the rain. Such a Chad. Wasn't that wild? And our boy, you just pushed us over the $100 mark. 101.98 and 2 new members. No, I only danced at 200, Brian. That's the rule. So, Trump Tower Damascus. What? Syria seeks to charm U.S. president for sanctions relief. We'll see about that. I'm sure the left is going to have a meltdown over that. Well, let's see here. What else is going on? D.C. sees a 9% drop in homelessness, ending 2 straight years of increases. I wonder what caused that. All the world needs is a Trump rally. Look at this. They definitely had a Trump rally in Saudi Arabia today. Listening to Lee Greenwood, right? Let's see. What else is going on here? Cowboy Cry More. What is this?
Yeah, literally. You can expect a full red carpet welcome, can't he?
It's false.
Yeah, literally, the red carpet is expected to be rolled out for Donald Trump.
Wrong. President Trump actually didn't get the red carpet today. Instead, the Saudis rolled out the purple carpet for him. The symbolism here is crazy, as purple is the color of royalty. What this actually symbolizes for Trump is that he's still fucking winning. Go cry about it.
Go cry about it, right? The purple carpet. How epic is that? So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us tonight. And what you've witnessed isn't just news, it's history unfolding before your eyes. So let's recap what we've uncovered in this explosive edition of the Raw Feed. We start with President Trump's extraordinary triumph in Saudi Arabia, a deal so massive, so transformative that it's reshaping the global economic landscape. While the mainstream media tries to downplay it and spin it, we showed you the truth. $600 billion in investments, millions of American jobs, and a complete restoration of American leadership on the world stage. I mean, compare that to the imagery of when Joe Biden showed up, okay? No purple carpet, no grand entrance, nothing. And then we took you inside that remarkable Saudi investment forum, where international business leaders witnessed something they'd never seen before. The standing ovations, the unprecedented deals, the sheer magnitude of what President Trump accomplished. It's all part of his master plan to make America the economic powerhouse it was always meant to be. Then we exposed the hidden crisis in South Africa that the global elite are desperately trying to suppress. Tom McCullagh's reporting from Washington revealed patterns that cannot be ignored and truths that cannot be buried, and implications that will affect every single American. Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s revolutionary transformation of health and human services, sending shockwaves through the pharmaceutical industry. And what we reveal tonight explains why Big Pharma executives are holding emergency meetings. It's not just about healthcare, it's about fundamentally changing how America takes care of its people. And finally, we showed you disturbing footage, Democrat leadership's unprecedented assault on presidential authority. Their masks slipped, and now the whole world can see their true agenda. So to our amazing viewers who supported us tonight through Super Chats, yes, I see you, Barbara and R. Boyd and Curio and Wounds Are Us, Irving and Nightcall, Crypto King, Paul, Susudio, and everybody else. You guys make this journalism possible. You keep the conversation going. You expose even more angles to these crucial stories. But listen carefully. We cannot do this alone. They want to shut us down. They don't want these truths getting out. And that is why we need your support. I say it all the time. It's true. There's links in the description to our donation page. Every dollar helps us keep exposing what they want hidden. And if you haven't already, go to our merch shop, shop.nextnewsnetwork.com, grab some merch, show the world that you stand with real truth. It's not just clothes, they're statements, and they show the world where you stand. And most importantly, share this broadcast. It costs nothing to text it to your friends. Post it everywhere you can. Repost it on X. The algorithm is actively trying to suppress us, but they can't stop person-to-person sharing. The truth will prevail. So to Tom McCullagh, thank you for your outstanding reporting from a very wet White House tonight. And to our viewers, you are the resistance. You are the movement. And you are the reason we keep fighting to expose the truth. This is the Raw Feed. We'll see you tomorrow night with more explosive revelations they don't want you to know about. God bless you, and God bless America. Good night.
and we